And welcome back to another episode of Massholes with Mikes. Jacqueline, Jordan, Kyle, and myself back again. 4-person cast for maybe the 4th or 5th show in a row. It's felt pretty good. Nice full barn, as you will, to go over our 10 questions. We didn't get to it in the late segment, of the last episode. Last episode was all about Patriots-Panthers recap. Here we go, 10 questions as we always do. We didn't really get to delve into it. I was upset. I had some good questions I thought on here, but now we finally get to kind of, I guess, discuss the different stuff that are on here. I'm interested to see your guys' takes on some of these. So we get to start with Jacqueline because you're in the top left of my Zoom here, and it will get redone on the new YouTube layout. Yay! Woo! Okay, so Jacqueline, you get to start. Use one word to describe the Aaron Rodgers-Pat McAfee interview.
Asshole. That was such an asshole thing to say. I'm so sorry for already swearing right away. But, why? Simply why would you just spread propaganda when you are an NFL quarterback who has literally the most resources out of any human ever, and you're just going to sit here and say that Joe Rogan has advised you? I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Aaron Rodgers was starting to redeem himself in my eyes.
Really?
Not anymore.
There we go. Jordan.
My word was what? Like I said, I texted you guys. Like I said before, I texted you guys in the morning. I fell back to sleep right after. This was when when he first went on, and he initially said that he was allergic to something in the vaccine, and I'm like, okay, valid reason to not get it. You're allergic to something.
Agreed.
Woke up, saw everything else he said, and went, I'm sorry, come again? Like, what was that, man? Come on.
Kyle.
Brave. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. This may be the title of the YouTube video. Aaron Rodgers brave for COVID stance.
Is Aaron Rodgers a brave
Kyle.
No, I wrote down lunacy because that's a fun word and it means that something is crazy. So, and that's what it was. I mean, I was at work at the time and I was chatting with our sports anchor for the day. Just as the stuff was coming through, because he was like, he was listening to the thing. We were just like, what is going on? Like, this is just insane.
My word, insufferable. I mean, it's just peak Aaron Rodgers. This guy, he's just an absolute jackwagon, a tool of the highest order, and it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that he pulled this. Like, it's so Rodgers, it doesn't surprise me. And I have hated him for a long time, admittedly. I probably was a little bit harsh with it. But I'm starting to feel pretty vindicated, so I'm happy about that. All right, question number 2. Jordan, you get the lead on this one. What has been the biggest injury to any player so far this year?
I said Andy Dalton. For the sake of the Bears having to go to Justin Fields before he was ready, he got off on a horrible foot. Now, he played fairly well against the Steelers, and he's like top 5 in terms of I don't remember what the stat was in terms of big time throws or something. We're really kind of grasping at straws here when we're trying to inflate our perception of how Justin Fields has played. But I think he was a guy like most of these other players in college football that came in this year needed a year, and he didn't get one, and that's largely because Andy Dalton got hurt.
Kyle. Oop, I think I.
And I was muted because the train was going by. My bad. I said potentially Kyler Murray, depending on how much time he ends up actually missing from his injury. Because I mean, sure, Colt McCoy was dealing last week, but that's not going to be a guarantee every week. But he's fine as of right now. And then for my other one, I said Derrick Henry being out because it really looked like the Titans were gaining some momentum. Of course, they did just win a big game against the Rams, but I don't know how long that offense is going to be sustainable when you really have to keep relying on Ryan Tannehill to win you games down the stretch when you don't have that crutch in Derrick Henry.
My original thought when I wrote this question during the 1 o'clock games was, of course, the answer is probably going to be Derrick Henry. But then the Titans went and beat the Rams, so I had to go pivot and think of another option. Derrick Henry, I think, may ultimately become... Derrick Henry may ultimately become that guy that turns out to be the most impactful injury. I'm going to go outside the box and say Ryan Fitzpatrick. I didn't think Washington was going to be great. I thought they had a shot at the division. But what's more important is none of these NFC East teams, we already knew the Giants were probably going to suck and the Eagles were going to suck. Washington was the only thing standing in between Dallas and the NFC East, and Dallas can now pile up wins against their crap division. If Fitzmagic was healthy, maybe they could have taken a game away from the Bucs coming up this week, or the Cowboys once. They play a first-place schedule, so the Saints as well. Like, we don't know, but because he got hurt, it kind of derailed Washington's season, and they really haven't recovered from it. Jacqueline.
That's a good take.
Mine is really random because
like
I
this.
was
Let's
like,
go.
I'm trying to think outside the box here.
Hey, this is all I want. I love the outside the box picks because it helps me because
Hey, I went with Andy
make
Dalton.
graphics. Exactly.
I said Travis Etienne because
Interesting.
solely for the fact that he's a rookie, and I think that this is going to stunt his own personal growth over his next few seasons that he's in the NFL. And I was really looking forward to seeing him play I almost said in college, in the NFL. Like, I don't know, I'm just kind of upset that he got injured literally in the preseason and it was a season-ending injury. And I'm not saying that, like, he would be the sole factor that could save this lowly Jaguars team, but I do think that he would have some sort of effect on them, and they would have won a few more games at this point due to him.
Kyle.
I want to throw in an honorable mention one that Jacqueline inspired me with. Cam Akers with the Los Angeles Rams.
that's a good one.
He
I
was
didn't think
he
about
was
that.
pitted. I totally didn't think of it. I was thinking during the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't
I
even
was
thinking
too.
preseason. He
Smart.
was sort of pitted to be the guy, the running back in the Rams, and was going to be a breakout fantasy running back.
Yeah.
Was going to be huge this year. And now, I mean, Darrell Henderson replaced him, and now he's hurt. So, who knows what the Rams running game would have looked like with Cam
This
Akers.
is like a cursed season for running backs, I feel like. Like, everyone is getting injured.
Saquon got hurt. Zeke has kind of picked up an injury here and there. Kamara's dealing with something. He missed practice
Ramondre
today at the
Stevenson
time of
has a
recording.
concussion.
And
Yeah, I know.
Damian
Just
Harris.
brutal injuries to all the key running backs. Jordan,
Well,
yeah?
only one of those matters.
Speaking of running back injuries before the season, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards both
Yeah.
getting hurt for the Ravens. So those are two. I mean, we know how
I honestly,
much
I
the-
completely just put the preseason out of my head, and I
Me
absolutely
too.
should have thought about it.
Yeah.
Me too.
I don't know
You're
why I didn't think
welcome
of
for
that.
this perspective.
Yeah,
We just
and
listed,
also
we just
to-
rattled off 5 more right after
To
Yeah.
further
mentioned
bolster
ETN.
Jacqueline's point, I can't think of another rookie that suffered a big name rookie that suffered a season-ending injury so far. Yeah,
Knock on
exactly.
wood.
Yeah.
What about
Patriots have
Rodrigo
hunting.
Blankenship?
Happy hunting,
Patriots
though.
have two of them, so we may
hunting.
not want to jinx that one. Anyway, question number 3, and I kind of did purposely. I wanted Kyle to go third because I wanted him to lead on this question. You are the owner of a football team, a new football team, and you can take any quarterback in the league that you want. There is no expansion draft protection. But the key is obviously you're going to need him to start your franchise, so you ideally want him for the next 10 to 15 years. You're not drafting Brady. You're not drafting Rodgers. You wouldn't
Why
draft
can't I draft Brady?
You wouldn't draft Big Ben anyway. You can still do it, Jordan, as a meme if you want. But it's not like Big Ben would have gotten drafted even if you were going for immediate. But Kyle, you get to lead. Give me your top 5 selections for quarterbacks that you want. Just list them out 1 through 5.
Brady was number 1, so I don't.
Okay, you can say that. You can say it. That's fine. That's fine.
I'm kidding. He was number 6. I have
Just off
I have
the list.
Mahomes, self-explanatory. Lamar Jackson, self-explanatory. Josh Allen, self-explanatory.
Hang on real quick. Jordan, did Josh Allen make your list?
Josh Allen was number 1 on my list.
Oh, jeez. Wow, okay. I didn't put Josh Allen at all. Kyle, keep going.
Well, that's because you are
I know. I thought I was going to count on some
knee-jerking
anti-Bills
to
bias with me on that
him
one.
losing to the Jags. And number 3
No, I just don't like him.
was Allen. Number 4 was Justin Herbert. Because he looks young, promising. I wouldn't say that's self-explanatory quite yet, but and then number 5 I had Mac Jones, because
Wow.
Mac's looking solid so far. It looks like there could be a career ahead of him. Right after him, I had Justin Fields, though, because I am still really high on Justin Fields.
All right, well, I think I know where Jacqueline's going on her list, and I heard that Jordan has Josh Allen number 1, so this could be very interesting. I thought we were going to have similar lists, and we don't.
I will say I
Yep.
would have put Kyler on the list if he was not 5'8".
That's what
Well-
kept me from putting Kyler on my list.
Number 1, Patrick, for me, because I'm going second on this one. Number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Dak Prescott. I would love Dak Prescott for the next 10 to 15 years. Number 3 is Justin Herbert. Number 4 is Joe Burrow. Number 5 is Kyler Murray. Lamar Jackson was 6 for me. He was very close, but both of them have a short shelf life. They're going to burn really bright, and they're going to be out of the league probably before you get to year 13, year 14. Whereas the other guys, the pocket passers, I think I can get 15 good years out of. Jacqueline.
Number 1 for me was Justin Herbert. Gotta throw a wrench in there somewhere. I think that his mechanics are much better than Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes is my number 2 for self-explanatory reasons. Then I had Dak Prescott. I was kind of on the same page with you there, Jeremy. And I actually just changed one. I forgot that Josh Allen was quarterback. And so
he's also a linebacker.
4. He also forgot that.
He also got daddied by the Jaguars, Josh Allen.
You know, he truly is. So I didn't originally have him on my list, but I figured I would just put him at 4. And then I have Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow. I just love him so much. And then my number 6 is Mac Jones. He was my number 4, and then I was like, I forgot about Josh Allen.
I honestly forgot about I forgot about Burrow Dak. And Dak too, but I forgot that he's like kind of still young. Like in my mind, Dak's been in the league for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, he was here with Romo. He was a rookie.
He made his debut in 2016, but I still think he qualifies. I think you could still get that time out of him.
But like in my head, I'm thinking like Dak's been in the league for like 8 years. Like he just seems like a vet already.
He feels like he's been around a while.
Jordan, wrap us up here, and then I have 1 point to make before we move on to question 4.
Number 1 was Josh Allen. I think he's going to be the best quarterback in the league within the next couple of seasons. Number 2 is Justin Herbert. Same reason as Josh Allen, except he'll be the second best. I have Mahomes third. I just think the way he plays can sometimes get very reckless, and we're seeing it a lot this year with the turnovers. Like, he just makes a lot of Nimrod plays that I'm like, do I really want that for 10 to 15 years? Number 4, I had Dak Prescott. I think Dak is I think he's one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the league, and I think he has been for a bit. And then number 5, kind of a shot in the dark because I think once he has a good coach, he'll be pretty good. Trevor Lawrence. I have him as number 5 on my list.
Interesting.
I thought Trevor Lawrence was probably going to make an appearance on more people's lists. He didn't on mine. The one thing that I will say, for me personally, I know Jacqueline said that Herbert beats out Mahomes, but it's close. For me, the difference between Dak and Mahomes is the guy that I would want for the next 15 years. And then there's a major drop-off between them and then 3 through 5. I think Dak is right there with Mahomes right now. He's on the richest team in football. They get the most eyeballs. He's a good leader. We know he's talked about like his mental health struggles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Dak. I would have loved him on the Patriots before they signed before the Cowboys signed him to that massive deal. So that's why he was number 2 for me. I think his intangibles and his throwing ability, it's just both of them combined. Great franchise quarterback, in my opinion.
And he's really cleaned up a lot of his Nimrod mistakes. Because for a while, he was like the throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 picks player. And now he's like 300, 3 tutties, no turnovers.
Jordan?
Brady was legitimately 6th on my list, by the way. I'm not kidding. I know he won't be there 10 to 15 years down the road.
He'll get you a title in the first 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. I'm banking on those first 7 being pretty damn good, you know?
All right. Question number 4. I think I'm starting on this one.
Yes.
Which 2021 draft team, that drafted a quarterback in the first round regrets their quarterback pick the most? And who should they have drafted instead? There is an easy answer, but I'm skipping over it. San Francisco should really regret drafting Trey Lance. They should. Especially after seeing what Mac Jones does. He fits the Kyle Shanahan offense perfectly. And I know we talked pre-show about Kyle Shanahan and how he's maybe a little bit overrated as a head coach, but he's still a very good offensive mind. I think he's a good coordinator, not a good head coach. And his offense is built to have statues for quarterbacks, guys who are not mobile, but also won't turn the ball over a lot. They're accurate, and they throw the short stuff. Look at the guys that he's been successful with over the years. Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo. All 3 of them. Statues. They make a lot of side-to-side patches. They're not pushing the ball down the field. Matt Ryan maybe be the only exception to that, even though it was rare. He could have used Mac Jones in this offense. Throw screens to Debo and Brandon Ayuk all day. Like that would have worked.
You're saying that as if Shanahan didn't draw up 2 quarterback-designed runs for Jimmy Garoppolo that resulted in touchdowns against the Bears 2 weeks ago.
That's a great point. I forgot about the mobility of Jimmy G. Yeah, exactly. It's like trying to send a Scud missile into a battlefield, knowing that you got a nice other gun behind you. You're good. Jacqueline.
I am taking the obvious choice, and I'm saying the Jets. And honestly, at first I said that they should have drafted Mac Jones or Justin Fields. But in actuality, I feel like they should have just kept Sam Darnold. I don't know. I just don't know what that organization is doing from the top down. I really don't know. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if they got sold soon.
I don't think, Woody Johnson probably will let that thing go from his cold, dead hands. I think he's going to, and then what his son, Christopher Johnson, is an equal boob, so it really wouldn't matter. I will say, I should have specified, I didn't, I'm sorry. If the guy that, for instance, the Jets drafting Wilson or the Niners drafting Lance, the guy that they could have drafted doesn't have to be another quarterback. You could have said they should have gone with, I don't know, Penei Sewell or something like that instead. So I don't know if that affects Jordan and Kyle's thinking on this, but you could have chosen a different player. Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah, I also went with the Jets. I think Zach Wilson sucks. I think he has a very big Johnny Manziel-esque vibe to him with a Favre complex, which is a really bad combination
That's an
to have.
awful combo.
Exactly. My player they should have drafted instead is because they've been looking for one of these for like a decade now. Kyle Pitts. That dude is an absolute animal. Now they still need a quarterback to throw him the football, but Kyle Pitts is like a transcendental tight end. I think he's going to be one of the best. I don't want to say ever because that's really
he's getting covered
really
by Gilmore.
Yeah, he's an animal. Like you need him in your offense. And I think Sam Darnold would have been fine with him, but like Mike White would have been fine with him, and clearly Josh Johnson maybe would have been fine with him. Anyone but Zach Wilson.
Kyle.
Yeah, I also went with the Jets. I'm not completely out on Zach Wilson. It's been, he's only played like 5 weeks.
Too many.
He's a rookie. He needs time to develop, which is why I am actually picking them for this, because I think that they didn't need to draft a project at quarterback, and Zach Wilson was very much a project. I said that they should have gone with Fields only because I still really love Justin Fields. Watching him orchestrate that almost comeback. Well, come back and then almost come back at the end against the Steelers. I was kind of like, damn it, why didn't we trade up and get him? I love Mac. I've loved watching Mac so far, but there's always been something about Justin Fields' game that I've just loved. And I think that he would do a little bit better for the Jets only because he played for a more NFL-ready established program in college. So he's coming in with a little bit more, not only skill, but just I'm trying to think of the
big
word
game
for
experience,
it,
maybe?
Yeah, more experience than a guy like Zach Wilson who played for BYU and wasn't in a ton of big games in college. Granted, it didn't go so well for Fields in the Natty, but at the same time, he's been in those moments. He's been in those big moments, and you've seen it in some of the games so far.
Jordan?
I'm just curious. The Jets had 2 first-round picks, right?
They traded up with the Vikings to get the second one, though.
Oh, okay.
They were in the late 20s. They traded up with the Vikings. That was one of their first round picks they got from Seattle for Jamal Adams.
Because what I was thinking was, if you draft Kyle Pitts at number 2, what you could have done is, because for some reason I forgot about them having to trade up to get, it was Elijah Vera Tucker, right?
Yep.
They could have traded up. They still could have. They could have sold the farm and jumped up to 8 and get Justin Fields there instead of Chicago. That would have been an interesting dynamic. You get Fields and Pitts in the first round like that. That's Madden GMing, but
yeah,
a lot of things can happen if you change, just like that first pick.
It would have been interesting if they had because I hadn't thought of a non-quarterback, but if at 2 they had taken Penei Sewell and having him and Mekhi Becton on the front line, that's a pretty good offensive line right there.
Yeah. All right,
Jack.
Jack.
Guy who could have thrown in for the injury. Becton kind of killing Zach Wilson because his offensive line sucks now without Becton there.
True. All right, Jacqueline, question 5. Who's the best team that nobody's talking about right now?
The Saints. Ever since Jameis got hurt, everyone's like, oh, the Saints, okay. But I honestly think that they're still a pretty good team, so I'm still rooting for them.
Jordan.
Lost to the Falcons.
I have Oddly enough, I had the Falcons as my best team nobody's talking about. I had the Patriots, but now they won't stop talking about them because of the Odell stuff, so I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Kyle.
Mine, you guys, this might be blasphemy, but just hear me out. I said the Ravens. I don't think the Ravens are getting enough credit
That's
for
fair.
how good of a team they are this
That's
year.
fair.
They look like Lamar. Like everyone said, the Ravens aren't going to go anywhere until Lamar Jackson figures out how to throw. Lamar is having an incredible season. He's having, in some metrics, better than his MVP season. I mean, sure, they might need a little bit more personnel change, but they have been a hard team to beat this year, and they look like a wagon. Like, they're my team to beat in the AFC this year.
My pick is the Steelers. I think the Steelers got a lot of hate, and rightfully so, because Fat Ben Roethlisberger was just absolutely awful early in the year. But that defense has been playing better with the return of some of their guys. They had like 18 pulled groins on that Steeler team for some unknown reason. And it was all the same injury. It was bizarre. TJ Watt went down with it. I think Devin Bush got hurt, Alex Highsmith. But the offense is putting enough on the table to set it up for the defense. Boswell's money in big moments if he isn't concussed because of Tomlin. So I'm going to take the Steelers. After all the crap that we gave them early in the year, and rightfully so, here they are sitting at second place in the AFC North, out of first by a game. I'll give them credit for that. Question number 6, Jordan. Biggest surprise loss of the week, and there were a bunch of them.
Easily Buffalo. You scored 6 points against Jacksonville.
Yep. There's not much more to say than that because it was epically bad. Deliciously bad if you're a Patriots fan, though.
Urban
Kyle.
Meyer prepped for Bama that week.
It's a good point. Kyle.
Yeah, I had the same one. It's kind of lazy, but at the same time, I could not expect that, especially the way that it happened.
The Bills
9-6.
The Bills
That was a
seem to be
winnable game.
becoming like the Steelers, play up or down to their competition, because we see when they're dialed in against the Chiefs, for instance, they can still smoke teams, and again, really good teams too. But they took the last 2 weeks off. Miami last week, they barely survived. And then Jacksonville this week, they lost. My pick was, because I knew people were going to go with the Bills, Cowboys. I don't know, that clunker. That absolute clunker
2.
against the Broncos. What in the world happened there? Jacqueline.
I also had the Bills. That's just inexcusable.
Yep, and there were some other big losses, obviously. You had the Browns beating the Bengals, the Rams losing on Sunday night in pretty terrible fashion if you're a Rams fan. Anyway, question number 7. The Titans win against the Rams, which is why I brought it up. Does this solidify them as the best team in the AFC, true or false? So, yes, they are the best team in the AFC, or no? Kyle, you get to start here.
No. I said it earlier because I forgot this was the next question.
You're good.
Or 2 questions. I think the Ravens are better. I think that when they're healthy, they're a lot better on both sides of the ball.
I can't say that the Titans are the best team in the AFC because I don't know who the hell is the best team in the AFC. It's so wide open. Very good as a Patriots fan. It's just so wide open. Everyone's losing. Everyone has at least 2 losses right now. It's gonna be a track meet down the stretch. Jacqueline.
I said true because I couldn't really pinpoint a team that was the best, and I think that the Titans have the most definable
quality wins.
Yeah. Quality wins.
They also lost to the Jets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
which is what makes it so hard to
Zach Wilson.
call. Jordan.
I said false. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Jeremy, where I can't really pinpoint a team that's the best, but I don't think the Titans are, especially not without Derrick Henry.
Yep. Okay, question number 8. Biggest winner of the week. Normally we do biggest loser. I wanted to switch it up and say biggest winner. 2 teams, Titans and Buccaneers. Buccaneers got a massive bailout with Aaron Rodgers not being able to go and the Packers losing. So now the Bucs will be facing, I believe, as long as the Cardinals lose a game, the Bucs should be all right because the Rams are going to drop another game before the end of the year, in my opinion. The Titans, obviously, they walked into SoFi in a primetime game, which they're usually not in, and their defense showed up. I didn't see that coming from their defense whatsoever. So Titans and Bucs, and the Saints lost as well, so that also helped the Buccaneers as well. In terms of playoff positioning, Titans and Bucs won the week, even though the Buccaneers were on a bye. Jacqueline.
I said Josh Allen, but not the one who we thought would be the winner.
Nice.
Josh Allen, the Jacksonville Jaguar, had a sack, a recovered fumble, and an interception from other Josh Allen. From mid Josh Allen.
Very good. I like that. I like the anti-Josh Allen propaganda. Jordan.
Yeah, mine was the Titans, which is funny because I said they're not the team to beat in the AFC, and then I'm like, oh yeah, but they're also the biggest winner last week. That's a statement win, like you saw on national TV. That's huge.
Kyle.
Mine was the Browns. Everyone was burying the Browns after last week with the whole Odell drama. Everyone was like, everyone was breathing down Baker Mayfield's neck and saying he's terrible. And what do they do? They come out and they absolutely whoop the doors off the Bengals. And that was a Bengals team that, obviously they just lost to the Jets, but everyone still really thought the Bengals were a better team. And not only is that just a good win just because of after all the drama, but now they're back in the division. I mean, that division's insane. I think the Ravens will end up winning it in the end, but it's going to be really unfortunate for the Pats having to deal with the other three teams being good. We're going to need them to start knocking each other off very soon.
Question number 9, Jacqueline gets to start. Ben Volen a couple of weeks ago after the Indy-San Francisco Sunday night just monsoon game where it was really wet said that he wants there to be no more weather games. He wants it to be all indoor stadiums, all in domes. He wants football to be played as football was meant to be played. To which I say, bull crap, which is why question 9 is this. Build your perfect game. You can go indoor, outdoor stadium. Give me the time that you want it at. Give me the weather conditions. You can kind of go wherever you want with this. You could even pick a specific matchup that you like to watch. It's really up to you. Jacqueline, you get to lead.
I thought that this was like, I took this question in a different way.
That's fine. Go.
I thought that this was like, give me 2 all-time teams that you would like to see matched up against each other. And to that I say, the 1989 San Francisco 49ers versus the 2007 New England Patriots. Give me that all
Was that the last Joe Montana title team?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I would like to see that. I would also I kind of want to see a couple versions of the Patriots go against each other. Brady versus Bill against Brady versus Bill. Could be fun. Jordan, which way did you take this?
I took this as like weather and everything, but before I say mine, football was meant to be played. Like what on earth does that even mean? Football was made.
I don't
know.
They
were all outdoors.
He doesn't want the weather to be
fields.
A factor, I guess is what he's saying.
He can shut up. He can shut his mouth. I hate Ben Volen so much. But anyway, my ideal game, 1:00 start, 70 degrees. It's cloudy. This is my like pitcher mentality coming out. I love cloudy and like 70 degrees. Anyway, open roof with a slight breeze on a grass field because again.
So what you're telling me is
turf.
Hard Rock.
Yes.
Hard Rock Stadium in like December.
Yes, basically.
Okay. Interesting.
But I want a grass field.
I've been to Hard Rock Stadium in December. It was not a fun game.
Yeah, that was the Orange Bowl. Kyle, go.
Yes, it was. Mine would be 1:00 outdoors. Want it to be sunny and like in the 50s. I know that's not that fun.
No, but
I want to be nice and bundled up. Like I want to see my breath a little bit. Have gloves on.
Drinking
a couple
a hot
layers,
chocolate.
Something like that, and just chill.
Now,
I'm just thinking because I've been to 2 Pats game. I've been to 2 Pats games, and they were both like freezing, and I had a really good time.
I didn't specify that you had to be at the game watching it. You could just be watching it on your TV, which is why I went with this pick. 4:25 start, so not the super late start. So you're not going to get home at 3 in the morning.
I already hate
4:25. The sun is setting. Freezing temperatures, about 30 degrees. Light snow falling, preferably in one of 4 stadiums: New England, Philly, Pittsburgh, or Green Bay. All 4 of those snowy environments. The crowd is electric because they're used to it. They're hardened against the cold. You get one of those cold weather teams up against like the Ravens or one of these ground and pound, really sock you in the mouth. That is a great game almost always. Patriots are very good at playing in these games in the past. I mean, how many 4:25 matchups did the Patriots have against the Steelers or the Chiefs? Like those primetime, AFC is in the balance. Gotta have them games. I love watching those.
When N'Keal Harry scores a touchdown, but it gets called back because Bill wastes his challenge on a really dumb play earlier in the game.
Moving on, question number 10. Jordan, start. Rank the running backs in the NFL. Stop when you get to Christian McCaffrey.
I got Dalvin Cook, number 1. I got Derrick Henry, number 2. Ezekiel Elliott has been awesome this year. He's number 3 for me. Saquon 4. Chubb 4. Saquon 5, Kareem Hunt is 6, Tony Pollard is 7, Aaron Jones is 8.
Tony Pollard.
Keep going. Yes. Just get there.
Brandon Bolden. No, I'm just kidding. That's where I put McCaffrey.
You have 8 running backs ahead of Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
interesting.
He doesn't play enough anymore.
Kyle, go.
Yeah, see, I took that into account, but I still have him up there because when he does play, he's that great. But I have Derrick Henry in order: Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Taylor. Big fan of Jonathan Taylor, and then Zeke, and then even Austin Eckler, just because he's more healthy.
So he's 8 for you.
I forgot Kamara. Put Kamara at like 3, bump everyone down 1, and then at 10 is McCaffrey.
Jordan's got him at 10. Kyle's got him at 8. I have Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Zeke, Christian McCaffrey. And
I forgot about Chubb.
I'm starting to think about Jonathan Taylor. I like where you're going with that. So I'm going to actually bump McCaffrey down to 7. I have him at 7. Now, this is, Jacqueline, you can finish up here, and then I'll make the point about McCaffrey.
I said Kamara, Henry, Elliott, Cook, Chubb, McCaffrey.
Okay. None of us have him in our top 5. Now, whether it be just availability or the fact that he screwed some fantasy teams up, I just don't. I think Christian McCaffrey is ridiculously overrated. I don't really see. I mean, we saw him last week. We saw him last week as Patriots fans. We watched him. I understand that he doesn't really have anyone throwing beside him, but for the guy who's perennially like a top 3 fantasy pick, he should be putting out more because it's not like he had anyone to work with the last couple of years when he was the number 1 pick in fantasy. So, I mean, that's just my little anti-Christian McCaffrey thing. I think he's just very, very overrated. All right, moving on.
If he could keep his ass on the field, he's hurt religiously, and that's not entirely his fault. Like, they're always, like, hamstring, groin injuries, which is largely because of turf field, which is why I have an agenda there.